Thank you very much indeed. Good evening and welcome to the We Innovate Grand Final 2024. I'm Maria El-Salahi and I am delighted to be your host for what promises to be a really exciting evening ahead. And I had a little sneak preview at our dress rehearsal and can wholeheartedly say you're in for a really impressive evening. So just some housekeeping points to share before we kick off and a little bit of background. So over the course of this evening, you have 5 very different women-led startups competing for a £30,000 prize fund and a share of that, which you will find out more about a little later over the course of this event. This is part of the We Innovate programme, as many of you will know, which is run by Imperial's Enterprise Lab, the college's flagship entrepreneurship education programme, and it's designed to support the next generation of women entrepreneurs and help to accelerate their startups. What you will see here this evening is the culmination of 6 months of intensive masterclasses of business coaching and mentoring. And today you will meet and hear from 5 fantastic finalists. They really are brilliant, and they are competing for a grand prize, which is sponsored by Santander. Now, the winners of the Lauren Dennis Award and Engineers in Business Awards will also be announced this evening. And before we start, as you will know, if you've already filed in, you will have seen the entrances. If there is a fire alarm, of which there is not one scheduled, but if you hear that alarm, please do make your way out of the room via the exit closest to you. We have 2 at the back and 2 at the front with green lights alongside. Okay, let's get started. So, to officially begin this event, please give a very warm welcome to Imperial's Vice Provost for Research and Enterprise, Professor Mary Ryan.
Thank you so much, Ray. It's really hard for me to stand in front of the lectern because I'm so used to actually being in a space like this and talking about thermodynamics. But tonight is a much more enjoyable event, I can assure you. So good evening. Welcome to the We Innovate Grand Final 2024. I think this event has rapidly become a key event in our annual calendar. It's the event not to miss, so good job for being here. And I think there's lots of people outside walking past with FOMO. This is really the end of a 6-month journey for the teams that have been involved in the final. And it's really the big showcase event. 6 months, women-led teams with an innovative, impactful idea, passion for entrepreneurship, and really strength and resilience to make it to the final. We started with 25 teams. It's fiercely competitive. I know each of those teams have got wonderful ideas. They've been working really hard. There are many of them, in fact, most of them should be here, so that if you're networking later, please make sure you talk to everyone that's been involved in this program. It was a very tough decision, I know, to take it down to the final 5, but we're really excited to hear the pitches and follow all of the journeys. This year is also a special year because it marks 10 years of We Innovate. Okay, 10 years of We Innovate. Really, from somewhat humble beginnings and some really amazing vision to the program that we have today, that I think we can safely say is a world-leading program for female-led innovators and entrepreneurs. Just for context, in 2018, 1% of all VC funding went to women teams. It's got a little bit better. In 2024, it's still below 5%. So there's a lot of work to do for all of us to do across all different areas. We Innovate is part of that, and Imperial is committed to continuing this support. So, I've already said quite a lot of what's on here. Imperial College, in case you didn't know us, we're really committed to impact. Our founding mission was to be useful. Our mission today is stated as delivering enduring excellence in research education for the benefit of society. So everything that we do has benefit and impact running through it. We ask ourselves all the time, so what? Why did you do that? What difference is it making to people and planet? And you'll see that ambition in the teams here tonight and pretty much all of the students and staff that you meet at Imperial. The other thing that we know, because we're an evidence-based organization, is we know that when teams have got diversity of thought, that you get better outcomes. You get more rapid solutions, you get more scalable solutions, you get more accepted solutions, you get more creativity. So as an organization that cares about impact, it's natural that we also care about diversity. I think it's part of our role to support and create teams and people from all demographics and make sure that there is opportunity spread equally. We know it's often not. It's our job to fix that. So, looking ahead, we want to build on these achievements of 10 years. That means delivering more support to more teams in more places. We want to build this program into a national activity. We're proposing to partner with 6 universities across the UK to scale this quite dramatically and quickly. To do that, we need the expertise, we need passion, we need dedication, and we need funding. So the first 3 of those, I'm very confident that we've got. Right? The last one we're going to need help with, so we'll be talking about that later. On that note, I would like to thank our program sponsors who enable us to run the program and run events like this. So in particular tonight, thanks to Santander Universities for sponsoring the prize fund. Thanks to the Althea Foundation, Alison Bennington and Alexis Durrett de St. James, who's here tonight, for their support, but also for the vision and ongoing, I guess, passion that's driving us to keep this moving. And we are really very grateful. I think I'm going to stop for a quick round of applause for the sponsors. Thank you. Okay. I would also like to thank our amazing Enterprise Lab team who do such an amazing job of conceiving, articulating, and delivering these programs. And Sarah's here, and Ben's here, is Vicky here. You know who they are. Thank you. It's amazing, and it's greatly appreciated. This is not an easy thing to deliver and to grow. So thank you. It's greatly appreciated. If you are interested in being part of our adventure, joining our team as a sponsor or a mentor or helping us in any way, please talk to the team. We would love to grow our network in this space. So I'm going to say good luck to all our finalists. Everybody, this is going to be an amazing evening, so please enjoy it. All right, we are also this evening really fortunate to be joined by a special guest. Annalise Dodds is the Shadow Secretary of State for Women and Equalities and Party Chair of the Labour Party. And it's really my great pleasure to invite Annalise just to say a few words before we start the grand final. Annalise.
Thank you. Well, thank you ever so much, Mary. I have to say it's a little bit intimidating standing up to speak after someone who I believe has written over 200 articles. As a former academic, I'm very impressed indeed by that, but of course by all the work that Mary and Imperial more broadly have been doing in engineering, in science, and of course, as we're seeing tonight, supporting entrepreneurship, particularly women's entrepreneurship. I'm really grateful to everyone who's been involved in We Innovate, an incredible program. As you said, now at the end of its first decade, I hope the first of many in the future, and particularly want to thank, of course, Alexis and Kate as well, everyone who's been involved in that journey. And of course, this is an incredibly important journey. As Kate referred to, sadly, we haven't seen the progress in women's entrepreneurship that we desperately need to see. The proportion of women who are entrepreneurs has been roughly stagnant in relation to all the rest of the entrepreneurs, yes, you guessed it, they're men, over the last 10 years. We've not seen the kind of change that we could have seen. And of course, when we remove those barriers to entrepreneurship, whether it's for women, for ethnic minority entrepreneurs, for disabled people who are entrepreneurs, when we remove them, ultimately we grow our economy and we unlock those solutions for modern challenges that are so desperately needed. We believe that ultimately, as well as the incredible effort that we see coming from business, from academia, from civil society, there is more we can do as a country to back these kinds of entrepreneurs. We think, for example, the British Business Bank could take some of the leaves out of the book of the work that you've been undertaking, that we need to measure how much money is or isn't going to women entrepreneurs and to ethnic minority founders as well. And of course, we believe we need to tackle those barriers that may have held back some other potential entrepreneurs who might not be with us tonight, but who could have had wonderful business ideas too, whether that's the challenges of childcare, still such a huge problem for many women, unfortunately, or indeed the challenges around the workplace, because most entrepreneurs have been employed before, and so often they need that bit more flexibility before they can get going, or indeed challenges around health as well, especially important for entrepreneurs in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, often the time when those innovative solutions come to mind, but when sadly many women in particular will struggle to get beyond the first stages because of those competing pressures. I'm really excited about what you've managed to achieve in this program. For me, this is part of a long-term commitment to entrepreneurship, because my father was an entrepreneur. I have to say to all of you who are finalists, I'm afraid some of his business ideas, they didn't go very far. In fact, I always used to say that the stack of business cards was a little bit like some kind of geological model with the different strata over the years, but eventually one of them did take off. It was hard work, it was 6 days a week for 30 years, but ultimately he did get there. He managed to create his own business. I'm sure that many of you will be able to grow your own businesses in the future. And when I look at what you're proposing and how your businesses could change people's lives, I'm really filled with excitement for what we're doing within this area in the UK. So just such a pleasure to be with you. I'm sorry I can't be here for the whole evening. I'm afraid there's something going on. It'll be over soon, don't worry. It'll be over in 15 days, whatever the outcome is. But I really wanted to prioritize this, to be with you all because of the great work you've been doing, and all power to your elbows. Thanks ever so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed for those opening speeches. Right, it is almost time to get to our pitches. Let me just run through how this is going to work. So we have 5 teams competing tonight, and each founder will pitch for 5 minutes, and that will be followed by questions from our judges for the same length of time directly afterwards. And let me tell you a bit about those judges, because we have an esteemed panel of judges joining us each year at We Innovate. Experts from across industry and academia with extensive experience in both running and scaling ventures join us to help select the most promising founders, and this year is no exception. You have already met some of our judges. Let me introduce you to them again. We have Professor Mary Ryan, the Vice Provost for Research and Enterprise at Imperial College, joining us on our judging panel this evening, alongside the founder and managing partner of Merian Ventures, Alexis Durrard St. James, and we're also delighted to have on the judging panel the managing partner of SV Health Investors, Dame Kate Bingham. So please put your hands together for our 3 judges. So once you've heard from all 5 of our pitchers this evening, the judges will take some time to deliberate, and they have a really tough task ahead of them. Again, having seen that dress rehearsal, you've got a difficult one ahead, judges. Right, that brings us on to the very first of our pitches. Please give a very warm welcome. Opening tonight's pitching session is Diana from Celio.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Diana, and I'm here to present to you Celio, on a mission to revolutionize last-mile vaccine delivery. 50% of vaccines are wasted globally, releasing 2.5 million tons of CO2, and even more importantly, claiming lives of 3 million children annually. So what's the reason for such wastage? Well, the main issue is inadequate packaging solutions that fail to protect medicines against temperature fluctuations and rough handling during the last mile of delivery. On top of this, existing solutions continue to rely on materials like polystyrene and synthetic coolants, releasing further 10 million tons of CO2. The industry is desperately searching for sustainable, affordable solutions that are designed for the very specific challenges of last-mile delivery. And that's where Celio comes in, offering a novel packaging material that can keep medicines cold passively, effectively, and affordably. Our solution is built on 3 main pillars: environmental consciousness through full biodegradability, it's lightweight and affordable, minimizing shipping costs, and finally, it's adaptable. In the real-world setting, the material can be made on the spot to the exact shape and size of the medicines being transported. A need made so clear to us by one of our partners at Hatmill, the consultancy responsible for the rollout of COVID vaccines during the pandemic here in London. He said that if they had our solution back in the day, it would have made logistics 10 times more effective. Our material is inspired by seal blubber, known by its amazing insulative properties. They're engineered to be 2.5 times more effective than what's currently used in developing countries, which means that we can cover 300 more kilometers and increase immunization coverage by 30% in rural areas. In the market, saturated with remarkably similar solutions, we offer a radical innovation on material level. So let's take a short look at our competitors. The breakdown is simple. Those solutions that have similar thermal performance simply come with unaffordable price tags. And those that are more affordable or more sustainable do not perform. And lastly, none of them are adaptable like Celio is. When it comes to prices, we are replacing oil-based plastic and synthetic PCMs with our own bio-based proprietary alternatives that are not only more abundant and cheaper, but are also more lightweight, which results in a 38% price reduction for our customers at scale. We are positioned in a $28 billion cold chain packaging market, pharmaceutical, that's projected to almost double by 2030. With the last mile identified as our beachhead market because of the evident gap in current solutions. We will be selling directly to our B2B customer segments, and one of the main ones is logistic providers, who are looking for all-in-one solution to satisfy their own customer needs and also sustainable alternatives. The second segment includes governments and NGOs who are looking for performancy combined with cost efficiency first and foremost. We are 2 innovation design engineers who also grew up in developing countries. Witnessing social and environmental inadequacies firsthand drove us to make sure that our tech goes well beyond current state-of-the-art and creates lasting impact. Having access to world-class research facilities, we are currently supported by Imperial Enterprise Lab, Dyson Industry Advisory Board, and 2 advisory board members specializing in material science and co-logistics. Since our inception earlier this year, we've been supported by amazing programs like We Innovate. We've been finalists in Mayor's Entrepreneur Competition. We received a 10,000 R&D grant, and we also got accepted into Greenhouse Accelerator program. Thanks to the amazing support that We Innovate, we've been able to conduct in-depth customer discovery and secure interest from the leading logistic providers like Hatmill and Movianto, leading medtech research groups like Oxford Nanopore, as well as Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We're also preparing to demo our material in Rwanda by the end of this year, and are going to Ghana in July as part of the venture track by Imperial. Our immediate next step is reaching technology readiness level 4 by conducting lab-scale validation in the next months. Immediately after that, our main goal is to file for a patent, and that's where we hope for your support. If we win here today, we will be able to cover patent application fees and also conduct more further customer discovery to secure those key partnerships that will be pivotal for enabling us to conduct pilot tests and reaching technology readiness level 5, which we plan to do by February next year. Celio is poised for impact. If we replace only 1,000 packs of traditional packaging with Celio, we can prevent 50,000 kilograms CO2 emission and save 600,000 vaccine doses in developing countries. We are Celio, on a mission to revolutionize last-mile vaccine delivery. The journey starts here. Thank you.
Diana, well done. Never easy to be the first one to go. Well done to you. And we'd like to welcome your team member onto the stage and over to the judges for your questions. Mary, starting with you.
So you probably know I'm a material scientist, so I've got a million questions, but you're probably not allowed to answer any of them. So I'm going to stop. But I guess I have a question about your technical readiness and if there are some specific materials challenges that you still need to think around. You've clearly got the insulation properties. Have you got robustness, shock resistance? Is that all encompassed? Because this is quite a conservative space. Do you see any major technical risks with your material?
It is extremely conservative. You're very right about that. Something that also worth mentioning here that we do have a backup option in a sense that our material is essentially a platform material that can also be applied to many other applications in case if there are stringent requirements that are taking too long. We are very much driven by impact, so that's why we want to reach for the developing world. That's why we want to save vaccines and not do something else. But if it's taking way too long to file for those patents and receive the approvals, we can still license the IP and work around that.
Okay. Kate, I'm going to hand over to you.
Good. Thank you very much. That was a great presentation. My questions, I liked your next steps. What additional technical work do you need to do to actually file the patents?
So something that we had a proof of concept that was created using our simulated lab facilities. And we just need to conduct lab scale validation that is based on different ambient temperature profiles that basically corresponds to the exact criteria that the industry is searching for.
But that's to validate your claims. But have you got the claims already identified?
Which claims?
The claims for the patent that you're wanting to protect?
Yes.
Because you'll have a year to actually validate.
Yes.
Data. So have you defined your claims for the patent?
Emanuele is our CTO. He's also going to be very good to add to that. But the main three things there. So we have one material, which is basically evaporative cooling. It's based on evaporative cooling principles. So that's one. And it's combined with the second material that provides the insulative properties. So we have 2 points of innovation there. And that are IPable, patentable. The first one being the exact formulation of our materials, and the second one is the way we combine them. So that's something I can't talk about too much in detail.
No, that's fine. And our next question is, have you mapped out your costs to get through to the demonstrating, validating the claims you're going to make? And the costs you need to get to the point at which you can start striking partnerships?
We have 10,000 for R&D grant, and currently that's going to be enough to cover just some material sourcing and pretty much some more experimentation in that phase, more R&D. We do have, as part of Undaunted Greenhouse Accelerator program, we have access to Royce Institute for 3 months at some point later this year. So as soon as we consider our material to be fully ready for lab scale test, which is hopefully in the coming few months, we can start lab scale validation for free. So this is cutting a lot of costs. And as soon as we validate that, then we are ready to actually calculate the prices and specify a specific pilot for a specific number of units produced.
Can I ask one more question? And what additional people are you going to bring into your team? And what skills are you missing?
So we are currently searching for someone to join us on the testing side, pretty much thermodynamics and just helping to kind of bring it from our own improvised lab to more of an industrial standard approvals.
Alexis.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions. It's one patent that you're going to file, is that right?
Something that we have discussed is filing a patent family, because as I'm saying, one of the points of our innovation is the way we combine those two materials together.
So it'd be one patent, and you're applying for one global patent or one targeted patent in one region?
We're going to start with one. The way it goes, you apply for one, it holds for a year, and then in that year you have time to decide which countries or what you want to kind of remove from them.
So during that year, you'll decide what your target market is.
Exactly. Basically, what we really need right now is to have security to speak to people freely about our innovation and to actually secure those pilots and start the testing, because right now we cannot do any of those. Simply, it's just not protected. So.
Right. So in that year, and you made your patent, what is your target market? Because you'll have to work backwards from your target market for that last mile calculation of what your costs are and who your partners are. So what would be your region or market or country first?
For the pilot.
Beg your pardon?
For the pilot?
Yes, for the pilot.
So something that we're actually very excited about is going to Ghana in July, and it would be amazing to see and talk to people and see what it's like in the real world. What does last mile look like in there? That's an exciting opportunity. We're also, as we're kind of moving, we keep speaking to people even from London, for example, and that came as a huge surprise to us because we initially focused on developing countries. And then when we realized that the same issue still persists here, most of the packaging is reusable, but it never actually gets reused, and only two out of 5 of those reusable boxes returned. So even in here, it could still be applied.
Okay, so your cost will be done backwards in Ghana from a point of contact there. And then final question is, where are you going to manufacture your source materials?
Do you want to take that?
Well, is this on? Yeah. It's not entirely clear. Our materials are based off widely available biopolymers. And so there's not really many restrictions that exist at the moment hindering us from choosing where we're going to be manufacturing. Obviously, cost is the biggest thing. Right. But again, that will depend on our target market. So those will be things we'll be exploring when we do our demo days in Rwanda and when we speak with stakeholders in Ghana.
So that's why I'm asking is, theoretically, you could do the source material at your first point.
Yeah.
First source. Okay, great.
Thank you. I'm afraid that brings us time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed for a brilliant first pitch of the evening. And just a heads up, there will be an opportunity for networking after this evening. So you will, after the event rather, so you will have the opportunity, if you have questions, to meet with the pitching teams and to find out more there. Right, let's move on to our second pitch of the evening. Please put your hands together. Representing HighFond, the founder, Alvia.
So, imagine a world where you can buy fruit and it stays fresh for weeks. Hi everyone, my name is Alvia and I am the founder of HighFond. And we are here from Indonesia and we're dedicated to making this dream a reality. So let me introduce you to Agus. So Agus is a fruit wholesaler. And even though he's smiling in this picture, trust me, he hasn't been smiling this past few years. And I promise I'll tell you why he's smiling in this picture, but let's go back to the sad story for now. So each year, Agus has 500 kilograms of fruit per day in stock, but 10% of it decomposes. So this not only means fruit loss, but also monetary loss for him. In fact, he has 10 times the minimum salary per month in Indonesia lost. And this is huge. And if you think, 10% is not that much for fruit decomposing. Well, in Indonesia, now we produce 5.8 million tons of fruit and vegetable waste. This is the largest in Southeast Asia. And it can, to help you visualize how much is 5.8 million tons of fruit waste, it's around 423 Big Bens. That's huge. So how does this happen? In Indonesia, we have a long and complex distribution process. In fact, only 60% of the fruit produced in Indonesia is received by the fruit buyers. And with wholesalers bearing the largest percentage of fruit loss. This makes it crucial for wholesalers like Agus to find a solution as soon as possible. So this is where I come in, introducing our product, HighFond. After a series of research and development, we were able to create an edible preservative coating that fortifies the natural layers of fruits, minimizing moisture loss, and also control the exchange of gas that triggers fruit to rot. And how does it work? It's as easy as spraying it to the fruit itself. So if an apple usually survives for like 4 until 6 days, and even in 2 weeks, it'll be totally rotten. With the help of some other products, it'll be better. But with HighFond, now it can stay up to more than a week. And this is good news for Agus, because from 60%, now 85% is able to reach the consumer's hand. And even better, our product is made out of chitosan, which is a component in shrimp shell. So we not only tackle fruit loss, but also the 1.5 million tons of shrimp shell waste in Indonesia. And because we're made out of chitosan, our product is 100% natural. All products out there are usually using polyethylene plastic or wax, which makes it not possible to digest or not good in the long run for our health. With Citizen, Hyphon is safer. So we offer the same price as our competitors, but with better quality, better shelf life, and less fruit loss. And we're aiming to target Indonesia because it is the epicentrum of agriculture in Southeast Asia, but we are aiming to scale up globally. So we started back in 2022, we did our research and development, and we went straight to our consumers and customers, and we understand their needs. We've also received grants and recognitions from various competitions, from Science and Life, Thought for Food, the UN, and now we're here in Innovate. We've also talked to various investors that's excited with our products, such as Sequoia, Equity Life Indonesia, and even the investors here in the UK is excited to connect us with the biggest retail in the UK. So we're able to do this because we're an amazing team with diverse expertise. Me, myself, I have experience in product management. Melissa is our nutritionist, and Haris has experience in sales and marketing, and Eka has a background in finance. We're even better with the experts that backs us up, which have experience in health, medicine, and agricultural technology. And so what's next? With the 15K funding from Innovate, we are aiming to secure our IP and also certifications such as Halal and BPOM, which is equivalent to the FDA in Indonesia. We're also looking to partner with more wholesalers, expanding our sales, and we're looking to establish a larger manufacturing, because right now we are home produced. So we're here not to only look for investors, but also looking for advisors, specifically in agriculture and manufacturing. And if you're interested in trying out our product, please do reach us out. So as I promised, now you know why Agus is smiling. With Hyphon, we can now say goodbye to fruit loss and waste. Join us in transforming the future of fruit preservation. Thank you.
Well done to Alvia and Team Hyphon, and we welcome your team member on the stage for judges' questions. Mary, back over to you.
Okay, I'm going to come to Alexis first.
Thank you. Great presentation and a huge need in the market. So it's a space I've followed for quite some time. So as you know, you do have some competitors and large competitors.
Yes.
And they're basically teams of chemists, biochemists, organic chemists. So tell me why you've chosen the fruit you've chosen and the technique you've chosen and what your barriers to entry will be.
Okay, so you mentioned competitors. Well, we understand right now in Indonesia that people are not so educated using this type of coatings. That's why there's not much competitors in terms of the same natural coatings out there. So in terms of competitors, people usually either not use coating itself, or they use a coating that's like based on wax or plastic, which is not safe. That's why for barriers to enter, there's not much barriers right now because we are there the first time that is natural. We're here the first time, yeah.
Which fruit did you choose first?
Oh yeah, we chose fruits such as bananas because we tried doing our research and development, and it works best with fruits that has a thicker layer. So at first we started with that, bananas, and then, mangosteen, okay, the one that has thick layers. But then as our research grows, we're now able to cover fruits with thinner layers, like apples, as we showed before.
Okay, and then your application would be at wholesale source, where you would spray it at the wholesale source prior to distribution?
Yes, now we're aiming, our main customer right now is wholesalers because we understand that the impact of wholesalers are big and they're having the most loss right now. So we're aiming to sell to our products.
And have you spoken to any wholesalers yet or partnerships in Indonesia that you could set up the manufacturing?
Haris can answer that.
Yeah, we have partnership. We actually partner with several wholesalers in Indonesia, especially in Bali, because Bali is the epicentrum of agriculture in Indonesia, and we're targeted not only in the wholesaler, but we partner with several institution, organizations, especially with the Ministry of Agriculture in Indonesia, because we are connected with that by all the program that we are entering back in Indonesia, and we have done so much customer discovery with that.
Okay, great. And then final question, is you look like you've got a team of really experienced marketers and people who understand distribution. How about your core scientist who actually develops the product, and then is there a plan to patent it?
Yes, so I actually mentioned one of us is a nutritionist, Melissa. So we have that in our team right now.
So a nutritionist, okay. And are you planning to patent, or what's your...
Yes, we are aiming, with the 15K funding, we are aiming, that's our top priority right now,
Great.
patenting, yeah.
Perfect, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to just dig in. So what are the types of claims you're going to make for your patents?
Okay, so our types of claims, we're focusing on our formulation. So because right now that's our core business. So we're focusing on one right now because the process in Indonesia is quite long. So we're taking one at a time, and we are patenting our formulation. So yeah.
And have you had any advice that that is novel?
Sorry?
Have you had a patent lawyer look at this and say, yes, it's novel?
Yes, we already talked to lawyers in Indonesia, and we are having a back and forth conversation with them, and yes, it is novel.
And who are your competitors outside Indonesia?
You can get that.
So for the competitor itself, we don't have a direct competitor as of the moment because most of them are actually using like a wax and poly technique. So we are in a step ahead for the using natural layers at the moment. Yeah, that's it.
So there are no competitors developing natural coatings?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's the cost of this going to be?
Okay, so for the cost, for our product right now, so we're selling on 55,000 rupiahs in Indonesia, in Indonesian rupiahs, and we are
Per what?
per bottle, per liter. So that's around 2.5 pounds, which is
So £2.5, and what does that do?
that's we get. So we sell that to one bottle.
How many bananas will it cover?
It'll take 75 kilograms of bananas.
Okay, I'm not quick enough to work out the maths too.
Sorry.
How many bananas in a kilogram cake?
And so what will that do to the price of bananas?
So right now, because this is something to reduce their wholesalers' costs, it won't affect the price of bananas itself. We haven't really. Yeah.
But will they will end up financially better off?
Yeah.
Because they've got a lower waste.
Yes.
And have you quantified that? Do you know what that will look like?
Sorry?
What will that mean to a wholesaler?
Well, wholesalers now can sell better fruits, and it'll lengthen the life of the fruits, so they won't have that loss that I
But
showed.
have you quantified that for what that could look like?
That's
Yeah, it's actually 85% reach to the consumer. So we reduce like 11% of loss when it comes to monetary loss that they have and experience.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Can I come back to the material a little bit? Chitosan is a well-known natural material. It's got FDA approval for biocompatibility. So it is widely used in kind of human interactions. And I want to understand, where is your USP in the formulation? And how do you sit in the supply chain of chitosan, the raw material? You talked about it being a waste to material product. Are you formulating from the very, the shrimp waste all the way to the product, or do you? And if so, how do you make sure you've got the right supply of all those different bits together? Because that becomes quite complicated because you've got two industries that you're interfacing with.
Do you want to take that? Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, for the supply chain itself, we are actually backed by our organization and community in Ponorogo, Jawa Timur. So we are actually backed by that, especially for the shrimp sales waste. So as of the moment, I think that we are so much in the stock for the supply just for the product itself. So we are already starting from the very first product in the chemical. We started in the very first day and first for the product itself.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, that brings us to time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done to Team Hyphon. And that brings us on to the midway point. I'm just going to step aside ahead of our next pitch to make space for a model to be brought to the front for you all to see. And whilst that is being brought to the stage, let me welcome our third pitcher of the evening. Please put your hands together for Vedika from Beia.
I'm Vedika, co-founder of Beia, and we are improving how pregnant women track their contractions. Not long ago, I experienced unexpected contractions and couldn't explain them to my doctor. This made me realize that we need a better way to support women through this intimate, painful, and confusing moments in their lives. Uterine contractions have been historically ignored. It's a popular stereotype that they look the same for everyone. We've assumed that everyone feels the pain of contractions. but 40% of women fail to recognize them. This is one of the many factors that lead up to 45% of new mothers to face birth trauma. Let me share 3 stories we heard during our customer discovery. For an immigrant mother, Kim, the doctors didn't believe that her contractions had begun and sent her back home. Nobody listened, and she gave birth in a bathroom. Luna miscalculated her contractions and went to the hospital too early. She ended up with an unplanned C-section. She's not the only one. Sadly, 1 in 5 pregnant women go through an unnecessary procedure every year in the UK. Kate, a neurodivergent mother, experienced a strong cramp in the night and hated feeling not in control. Not feeling in control is hard, but not communicating is even harder. So she chose silence. At the heart of these stories is the subjectivity of contractions and the lack of tools for women to advocate for themselves. Even today, in a world where wearables can track every breath and step, why are women still having to track contractions manually using stopwatches or timer apps while they go through this grueling process of childbirth? They should be empowered to focus on birthing. And that's why we have created Beia. Beia is a smart, non-invasive patch that helps automate the tracking of the frequency and duration of contraction patterns. With a patent-pending sensing technology, Beia can pick up contractions with high sensitivity, and that exceeds the existing gold standard by 40%. Mothers are recommended to use Beia from the 30th week of pregnancy. They can get it delivered, and it fits effortlessly into their daily routine for the much-needed peace of mind. Beia has been designed with and for mothers. It's comfortable and fuss-free. The wearable seamlessly pairs with the app to provide mothers with real-time, easy-to-understand insights on how their body is preparing for labor. It also simplifies sharing of clinically significant contraction data and further enables remote monitoring. We will reach mothers using a B2C rental model and offer a choice of 3 different care packages. Our goal is to support 40 million births annually in the UK, US, Canada, and India, starting with 650,000 births annually in the UK, within which are the 280,000 first-time mothers. A strategic market entry begins with a pilot at our partner St. Mary's Hospital in London, focusing on 5,000 births a year. The pregnancy monitoring market is growing rapidly, but most of our competition is either expensive or bulky and is used in the research or clinical settings. We are the first movers in the UK market offering an at-home solution, and this has been validated by 92 interested customers. Along with design awards and features, we have a patent and feasibility study on the way. We have also built strategic partnerships with NHS-certified suppliers and received letters of interest from UK's popular pregnancy rental platforms to ensure Beia's successful commercialization. We are a team of experienced designers, obstetricians, business, and public health experts. And to support our goal, we have built a strong advisory board who bring a dual level of professional and birthing experience. Our next goal is the MHRA registration. And with the 15K prize that we can win tonight, we want to expand the patent, fast-track the MVP development, and launch the feasibility study. And this will help us reach the milestone. In exciting news, Dr. Bonner, a London-based GP and a first and soon-to-be mum, has eagerly volunteered to try out Beia. Well, there are lots of stereotypes around pregnancy, but the roller coaster around birthing your first child is very real. That's why, with Beia, let's ensure that every birth story begins with confidence. Thank you.
Very well done, and we welcome the rest of your team to the stage for judges' questions now. Judges, over to you.
Thank you. Really interesting pitch. Thank you very much. I'm just interested a little bit about your business model and how you plan to reach the customers. Is the plan that you sell directly to the customer? And And where is your first market? Is it the UK you're thinking of?
Yeah.
Okay, so explain how you're going to do that, how you're going to reach the
Echo,
customers.
would you like to take that?
So we have letters of interest from the two really popular rental platforms for pregnant women and baby products. So we're going to start reaching out. They have a customer base of around 7,000, and we're starting with partnering up with them. They're going to help us reach our first market. And also, as we said, we're reaching out, starting with the 5,000 from the maternity ward at the St. Mary's Hospital. And yes, we'd love to, our ultimate goal is to serve the 100 million births in the world, but let's say practically, step by step, we're starting with these strategies.
And maybe just ask you a little bit, so you've pivoted this very much from the position of the mother, but presumably there's a huge benefit to the NHS as well. What's your kind of longer term strategy in measuring and articulating that and then finding access points in?
Yeah.
So we have done initial explorations to try to assume the costs that we could potentially save the NHS, especially in unnecessary interventions. So the interventions that we have looked at are C-sections and epidurals, and one C-section costs the NHS 7,500, one epidural costs the NHS 1,500. And there is research that shows that if mothers go in too early because they're anxious, then they're more likely to receive such an unnecessary intervention. So yes, our longer term vision is to conduct a full economic evaluation to understand how much cost we are saving the NHS and look for access points. But at this point, it's looking at the feasibility study as a first step.
Okay, thanks.
So what is the...
Use the mic.
Sorry, what is the actual inventive step of your sensor?
Yeah. For the product, it's the technology. So the technology in itself is at the TRL level 4. And we have looked at the material composition of this new sensor. And the way it's designed, it's more sustainable, so you don't have to throw it away after every use. So the sustainability part is the inventive step, along with it being comfortable. It's flexible and comfortable for more mothers.
So if it's, okay, so several answers there. If it's more sustainable, what does that mean? You send the product back and you reuse it with another mother?
Yes.
And you sterilize it?
Yes. So that's why we're taking the rental model forward and sterilizing the technology.
Okay, so that you've got a reuse claim, and and then there's a material composition claim.
So the sensing technology has 5 parameters, which are material, the geometry, the shape, and the size. So we have claims around those, and I think.
And is that defendable? Shape, size, geometry of the...
It's a composition of these 5, yes. And we have talked to the patent lawyer. We already have a patent in India, and we want to expand this with the prize money here in the UK. And along with the data processing and the design of the device itself.
And the cost of manufacture and then the cost of sterilization?
Will be factored in, yeah.
So we talked to 5 certified manufacturers across the UK and the EU, and the cost of manufacture, because we haven't disclosed the full technology, so there is a rough estimate around 70K to send out the very first 200 batch of our MVP.
Just say that again?
So to develop and manufacture the first 200 batch of the MVP, that costs us 70K. But that also includes the development of the app and a back-end continuous maintenance throughout the year.
But then the cost, you've got shipping costs and you've got sterilization costs.
Yes, so for each patch, the shipping cost is around 1.75. So we have that calculated into our financial
1.75 what?
Pounds.
For shipping?
Yes.
And then sterilization?
Sterilization, we're going to use sanitized spray and wipes, so that cost is, because the product is not touching the skin directly, it's through a disposable silicone adhesive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can we just take a step back for just a second, because you showed a chart where you are low cost compared to your competitors. There's some very well-known names on there. So I'm assuming that this technology has been miniaturized and that you can offer the same sort of efficacy at, say, 80% to 100% to, say, a Siemens or Johnson's & Johnson's. what does the technology actually do that's different to what your competitors are doing? And can you just break it down a little bit about what does this tech do? Why someone would take that model over another model that's in the market?
So we are not competing with the clinical, like Siemens and GE.
Then choose one that's in the market. Why?
Yeah.
What is unique about your tech, and what actually is that tech
So
doing?
it's not a disposable one. It's more comfortable, it's more flexible, and it's not about we're not looking at the miniaturization of the tech. We have come up with something that's completely different.
So you have a proprietary...
It's completely different, yeah.
And is it a proprietary algorithm, or what is it
No,
exactly?
it's in the material. It's in the material of the sensing technology and the data processing.
So it's the technology's sensor-based.
Sensor-based, yeah.
Embedded in a wearable.
In a wearable, yeah. It's a different one. We are also we have really critiqued what's in the at-home setting right now that's being offered in the market. So we have critiqued that technology and then really built our current Beia's technology. So that makes us pretty different.
Okay. So then your competitor is in the market, and this is a tweak on the wearable functionality part of it, and the sensor in the wearable.
I wouldn't say it's in the functionality, but in the way the sensor is designed and how it is used.
Okay, that's what I was
and
looking
what's
for.
the material of the sensor and how comfortable the sensor is and like what goes inside the sensor. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well done. That brings us on to our penultimate pitch of the evening. Please give a very warm welcome to Sade, representing Sensory.
I'm Sade, and I'm co-founder of Sensory, where we create the sports technology of the future. I want you to imagine that you're the best football player in the world. I leave it up to you who you choose, but regardless, you've spent countless of hours and years training. And it's all coming down to this moment. You're on your way to the goal, the crowd is cheering you on, but you feel your foot lock in, and you hear a pop. A pop of the anterior cruciate ligament is dreaded amongst all athletes. It is one of the major ligaments in your knee, and ripping it is one of the most common and prevalent sports injuries. As you're falling to the ground, all you can think about is how you just lost all those hours, all those years, because of one misstep. Although almost every single player returns to the field after an ACL injury, 1/3 of those players will never reach their pre-injury level of physical output. This is the reality of 6 Chelsea Football Club players this season. The club has spent up to £9.5 million per player already. Last season, they spent £45 million on injuries alone. But what if Chelsea knew their players were going to get hurt? What if they could have done something about it? Well, at Sensory, we do something about it. We have created Sensory Smart Brace, a smart system that can predict factors accurately. The brace detects muscle engagement around the knee, which is then built into movement patterns, and displayed on our platform as actionable insights. Our hardware has embedded muscle tracking and movement tracking sensors, which allow us to predict and track injury risk factors like fatigue, muscle imbalance, and stress. This data is collected and then displayed on our platform as actionable insights with machine learning and AI, which allows coaches and clubs to make strategic decisions about their players' health. We want to take the analytics out of the lab and into the pitch. We provide a comprehensive service to keep the athletes safe. The clubs pay a monthly licensing fee to Sensory, and they can then cover the appropriate number of players for £350 per month per player with our sensing system. If we go back to Chelsea for a little bit, remember they spent astonishing £45 million on injury last year, compared to the cost of covering one team with our sensing system for that season. Would you gamble with 45 million? Our competitors in this space use location, acceleration, and position sensors to track the players and sometimes their vitals, but only to improve performance. And this is where Sensory aims to disrupt the current market, where, yes, we can improve performance as well with these sensors, but we're focused on detecting and flagging these injury risk factors that can mean the difference between the end of someone's career or accelerating it. The global market is huge with 130,000 professional players. There is 40 football leagues in EU and 92 football teams in the UK in Premier League 1 and 2. But first, we're targeting 3 Premier League teams, 2 of which our advisor has contacts in. Our vision goes beyond football to sports like tennis, basketball, and applying our technology in medical context. Sensory was designed with the users and experts placing the need for change in the center of our product development. We're shortlisted on IF Student Design Awards, and we're being recognized by the industry experts. We're a powerful and dynamic team, and through growing up in sports and living with chronic illness, we're dedicated to change the way we look at injury risk mitigation. I have experience consulting in startups, building functional wellness and sports technology products, whilst my co-founder Samantha Clark is an expert in the field of leadership and strategic innovation consulting and has worked with the global giants. We're supported by top strategic advisors who facilitate the growth of our innovative product and business. With the prize money we could win tonight would go towards our MVP manufacturing. We're currently looking for a CTO, getting started on our software development. We want to grow our team and launch with 1 club by the summer 2025. If you're interested to work with us, please get in touch. At Sensory, we help you to make the right move every time. Thank you.
Well done. We welcome your team member to the stage and over to the judges for questions.
Thank you. Really fascinating area. I've followed it a little bit, but I've not seen anything quite like this. So what I wanted to do is ask, again, I always go to the tech. What is it that the tech actually does? And is it proprietary? Do you have a patent? Do you have a path to having a patent? Because this is like the golden ticket for every sports club in America. This is the downtime that they avoid, as you pointed out. So what does the tech do that hasn't been done before?
So we're using the state-of-the-art technology. Where our IP is in the way we've modified that technology to function better in this context, being sports.
So the technology is sensor-based or go deeper on the tech side?
The sensor, yes, it's sensor-based. Mm-hmm. We're using 3 types of sensors, which then build 3 types of neural networks, which then reinforce each other, sort of like how AI works. So it pulls connections between those, so and then can make conclusions.
Is it algorithmic-based? Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a learning tool as well as a predictive tool.
100%.
Okay, great.
Okay, have you costed the sound? So
excuse me?
Cost about the product?
100%.
So tell me a little bit about the costs.
Sam would love to answer to that.
Yes. So the cost of our product, it's going to cost £225 to make. And then obviously we'll be selling it at £350 per player per month.
It will be, to build on top of that, included in the licensing fee.
Of course.
Yes. Which, yes.
And where will you make it?
So we have been investigating partnerships in China and a few places across Europe.
Okay. And just patents, I think we've probably covered. Who else are you going to add to your team? You've talked about a CTO, so what skills are you looking for?
So we're in discussions with one potential CEO who would bring...
CEO or CTO?
CTO, sorry, excuse me, that was me, CTO. No CEO necessary. So with the CTO, we're looking to bring someone, well, this person would bring in experience as a professional athlete, as a professional coach, and as a founder of many other technological startups and working there as a science based person.
So, but it's a CTO, so it's a technical officer?
Yes.
So why do they have to be a professional athlete?
That's just for the passion. You have to have a passion for the industry. He brings
What
a
are the
different
skills that
perspective.
you're looking for specifically?
Skills-wise, we need someone with software development skills. We need someone who can, we would need an electrician, someone with electrical skills. And we would need someone for growth as well, but that's separate from CTO. And we're in discussions with the growth lead as well.
And final question is, what is your proof of concept? How are you going to assess your MVP and whether or not this works when you do your pilot?
Yes, so we have, through consulting in sports technology industry, I have connections to the US, where we would be able to contact sports clinics, where we'd get the clinics, we would need about 10,000 data sets to validate and train our model. And then through that, we could then, that would function as validation. So sports clubs, getting some initial clubs involved and generate those data sets.
And just to understand, 10,000 data sets means 10,000 people, or
no,
10,000 events, or 10,000 what?
So a data set could be, for example, one training setting. So 30 people could wear it for one training. That would be 30 data sets. They would have training twice a day in a week. That would be 14 times 30, which I cannot calculate without embarrassing myself right now.
Okay. It's kind of linked to Kate's point here. And what's the scenario, in terms of, I guess, confidence in the technology? All right, so are you proposing to reduce to 0 the number of injuries? Are you proposing to reduce by 10%, 20%, the severity? What's the offer to the club?
What's the offer?
In terms of, you've talked about them saving everything. And then how do you balance that in your business model? Is it an insurance frame? What's your commitment? And I guess that sort of links to how confident you are in validation of your model.
So technically, we cannot prove that something that hasn't happened will not happen. But what we can prove is that there is these scientifically validated injury risk factors which we can detect, and we can detect what degree do you have these. When they wear this in the training setting consistently throughout the season, and if they take the proactive actions we suggest them to take to change their behavior and create this behavior change cycle and a feedback loop between the data, the coach, and the athlete, we're able to see how those injury risk factors reduce. So we're giving them strategic tools for not just deciding who's going to get injured, but for day-to-day load monitoring. Who is going to play in the starting pitch this weekend? This player is fatigued. We're not going to add on to that injury risk.
So you're helping them manage their own risk profile?
We are. We're helping them not just manage injury risk, but to maximize performance.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us on to the final pitch of this session. Please give a very warm welcome, put your hands together, for Maria from Pera.
Pera is here to revolutionize an issue that nobody wants to address. Our close friend Victoria is keen to share her story. She loves her work as a product consultant and recently gave birth to her second baby. However, she now struggles with a complication after childbirth. She no longer knows when she needs to use the restroom for passing stool. This is called bowel incontinence. She feels she misses out on special moments, work, and has not shared this issue with her husband yet. If you, like Victoria, had bowel incontinence, would you be sitting here in the audience today? You may think this problem affects a small number of people, but according to the NHS, 1 in 10 of us is affected by it, and it is seen in all ages. Bowel incontinence may occur due to nerve damage, thereby affecting a large number of people with neurological conditions, or muscle damage in the pelvic floor, affecting people with gut health disorders. Postpartum mothers are also at risk. And the financial burden? The NHS spends approximately $500 million on continence care every year. Currently, people rely on single-use pull-ups or pads day and night with the use of inconvenient irrigators. A minority resort to surgery with varied success. People identified 4 major issues with current methods: embarrassment, infection, time lost, and cost. You will agree that these methods are archaic. We spoke with over 200 people, and the #1 thing that they want is the ability to predict when they need a restroom break. And Pera solves exactly that. It is the world's first digestive tracking wearable for bowel incontinence. The device discreetly adheres to the user's lower tummy to reach specific physiological markers, and is paired with a digital interface that builds the user's profile and helps them position the device correctly. After the training phase, Pera is personalized and is able to deliver timely notifications to the user's phone. This is game-changing for people with bowel incontinence. Our current trained model can recognize bowel activity with 97% accuracy and predict the need for a bathroom break up to 40 minutes in advance with 85% accuracy. We developed Pera through co-design with our users, a device that is hygienic, easy to wear. Our customers say that Pera would take the surprise out of this condition and give them a chance to plan their day and avoid disaster. Unlike our competitors who offer products that are single-use or rely on heavy batteries, Pera offers a sustainable and cost-effective solution that lasts throughout the day and prevents accidents in the first place. We plan to reach our customers through a B2B model. Starting in the UK market, we'd be forming partnerships with care organizations and pharmacies. Pera is priced accordingly for our customers. The financial burden to individuals is high. The cost of pads per person per year is $2,000 with an additional $4,000 in lost earnings. Pera could save up to $5,500 in the first year. The market opportunity is massive. 600 million people in the world have bowel incontinence, with 20 million in the US and 7 million in the UK. We are working with the national charity Guts UK, who are running the largest bowel incontinence survey this year. This organization would serve as our entry point to 4,000 early adopters. Our digestive tracking technology has the potential to branch out to a wider consumer base for nutrition tracking in IBS and early detection of adverse drug responses. Our co-founding team has 21 years of collective experience in manufacturing engineering, behavior science, industrial design engineering, and machine learning. This technology was developed under the guidance of our well-rounded advisory board of doctors, scientists, and medtech entrepreneurs. Since we innovate, we have conducted further hardware testing and validated our product. It works. We have registered our company and furthered our co-design and identified our regulatory pathway. With your support today, we could refine the Pera platform and file our patent so that we can launch our seed round and our efficacy trials from December onwards. Bringing this product to the market would help people like Victoria get their life back. We feel that she should not feel shame and embarrassment about this condition. We want to give freedom back to people with incontinence. Thank you.
Well done, and we welcome the rest of your team to the front now for judges' questions. Judges, over to you.
So my question is, with your, and I get it that it's you're currently your prototype with your 97% accuracy, but leads to 85% accurate predictions. Will you actually be able to switch the market? Because people are still going to want the pads. If it's still only 85% accurate, you're still going to want that reassurance. So I just wonder what the actual benefit is going to be to patients. And I've got the second question is around how many of the continence care that you said 500 million is bowel as opposed to pee?
The first question
accuracy and replacement of pads.
Yeah. That is why we'd like to put the investment into platform technology first, because yes, right now our model can recognize bowel activity with 97% accuracy, but we want to make the software more robust to give that accurate prediction. Right now it's 85%, but we'd like to scale that up. So when that is done, because people, yes, they rely on pads right now, but they don't want to. Our customers, they just, even with the pads, they don't like to step out.
But what's the number?
Can you get to 100%? Yeah. Because you'll need to get to 100% to replace the pads.
With that's like the plan. with refinement and with machine learning. So that's what we want to, where we want to put our money. And
the market comment about 100, you said £500 million continence care spent with the NHS, but that can't all be bowel.
No, you're right. So it's a complicated issue, given that people often try to keep this as a discrete issue. But estimates range from around 15 to 20% of that number.
So following on from that question, that's a large number, and does it include things like Crohn's? And when you measure that, that's a very large envelope. What exactly are you targeting when you do that measurement?
Sorry, the last part of your question.
What are you targeting when you do that? Is it Crohn's? Is it incontinence post-birth? So how did you get to that measurement and that number?
So that number is based on a national representative survey. We didn't conduct that survey.
Mm-hmm.
So that number is representative of all of continence care products. So that's encompassing anyone who's struggling with a problem
Okay. So
with
it's
incontinence.
a very, very big envelope.
Yeah.
And then and it was a great explanation of the tech. The visual was good. You could see where you wore it. You could see what the organ it was that it was targeting. In this case, it was looked like the large bowel. So it's a measurement that uses an algorithm that's looking at the motility of movement, or is it movement, sound? What is it that what vectors are being picked up by this device on the tech side?
Yeah, I can take that. So given the sensitive nature of our device, we can't disclose some of those factors. However, what we can say is that there are several things that make our sensing technology unique. That's material composition, the way that the sensor is actually layered and structured, the interrelation of components within, and also the algorithm as part of the system.
Okay, so is the goal then, is there a cognitive component to this so that the person would eventually realize that, okay, this feels like this Pera is telling me I need to do this? Is the goal to get pad-free as soon as possible using cognitive feedback from the device, or is it just a device you wear and it says you've got 40 minutes to get to the loo?
It's more of the first thing that you said, that because if they have Pera, then they won't need to rely on the current methods. So they can be wearing it all day long. And the device first goes through a training phase. So it learns your bowels, it's personalized, and then it's able to give you predictions.
So you would need your phone or your watch to tell you, it would send a timer, and then it would say, okay, something's happening, gotta get...
Yeah, you need a phone.
Okay,
with you, or like a
watch or a
something.
phone.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. A notification.
Some kind of an interface to tell you that this has been triggered.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's part of the digital interface.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, I guess a sort of follow on from that. How unique is your solution? And you talked a little bit about the IP position.
Yeah.
But as the first mover to market, it seems like there are many big organizations who also might move quickly after you. So how hard is it to replicate this? And I guess the training models that you thought about, how do you plan to stay ahead from some very large, similar, sort of incumbent, not quite incumbent, but you're in the sensing space?
How do we plan to stay ahead? Well, we do need to be a first mover in the space, and then gain enough traction and speed so we keep ahead. But we also hope that given as I said, the nature of the way that our sensor is built, it's going to be difficult to replicate. We think that we have a very unique method, and we think it's very defensible. We've been informed and advised.
And just on your sensor, do you need to know the source of the problem? You need to know if it's neurological or if it's Crohn's for the algorithm to work, or is it can learn?
So, like I said, there's mainly two kinds of bowel incontinence. But the thing is that your colon behaves in a similar way. So with the doctors we have on board and like other researchers, right, it's validated that it would work while the app takes the patient's data, but that is more for like a platform technology purpose as well.
It's effectively cause agnostic. It's the signals are the signals.
Your colon behaves like in a fairly similar way, so which we validated with experts in bowel incontinence as well. So yeah, that would be the case. And does that answer your question?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, that brings us to time. Well done. well done to our final team pitching this evening. That brings to a close the pitching session of this event, and it is now time for our judges to deliberate over each team's innovation, their solution, the potential to growth and expertise, and ultimately to decide on the winner of the We Innovate 2024 Grand Final. And while that difficult decision is being made, we're going to take just a short break now. Refreshments will not be served at this time, but they will be available straight after the prize giving. If you feel that you need to stretch your legs, please do be back in your seats in 10 minutes' time for the awards to be announced. Thank you very much. See you shortly.
and had a very devastating effect on the nation, and therefore really impacted me as a teen, I really wanted to do something that helped. I think every time I presented my work, everyone was like, but that's a big problem. I mean, somebody needs to do it. And so with the various programs within the Enterprise Lab, it really helped me explore that.
My favorite part of the program was meeting fellow women entrepreneurs and just being able to relate, share the story, share the same struggles, ups and downs.
You get a network of people who have worked with young businesses before, who know exactly what we need. You get a mentor who you meet with every 2 weeks, who can lead you down the path that you need to go on. And then you also get these incredible masterclasses once a week where you really learn the things you need to know at that point. I talk to so many women, and the biggest blocker sometimes is, no, I don't know how to pitch. But sometimes you just have to go for it.
I think particularly with Imperial College, it's a space where there are so many incredible ideas, especially on the college side. So, you know, in the medical field, in the technology field, and there are so many incredible business students at the same time. And for us, what I saw at the Enterprise Lab was that these two silos finally met.
If we don't include women in the entrepreneurship space, we basically lose out on 50% of the brain power of the world.
Things aren't always equal, so how can we make them equal? It recognises that sometimes people don't feel included, so how can we make them feel included? And in doing that, that helps us to recognise the humanity that exists within us.
Yeah. We have a whole load of our innovators just closed their round. It's really quite nice, especially because when you say it's a different kind of difficult fundraising environment.
Into this culture, I still think there's a huge room for this more specific, tailored type of program that we have at Imperial College.
Any network is really valuable, but when you are part of the network that addresses some of the fundamental challenges that you face in your professional or personal life, and those two quite often merge for the life of an entrepreneur, then it is hugely helpful, first of all, to know that you're not alone, and second, to have that support network to potentially pick you up.
We have to keep that investment going. We haven't got to a place where women's voices are amplified at the same level as men.
It's really an outstanding opportunity because that is where everything started for us.
Squeeze out. Thanks.
You're like, you know what, I'm actually going to keep this on.
So Andrew has the words in hand, so if you call them both together for the idea.
Happy to go? Yeah, you're happy, I'm happy.
Okay, or Dennis Award. Where we go?
Wow.
Welcome back. Thank you very much indeed for making your way back to this lecture theatre so promptly. Now, for the time you have all been waiting for, and we welcome back our judges who have had a very difficult task but have come to a decision. First, though, it's our special prizes, and for that I'd like to welcome Alexis Durant St James to the stage to present the winners of the Lauren Dennis Award. Alexis, if you'd like to join me at the front here. Now, this award is in memory of an incredible We innovator who presents one venture from the wider We Innovate 2024 cohort with 6 months worth of business coaching, and that prize is awarded to a team who've demonstrated an exceptional entrepreneurial spirit in STEM. And the winner of the Lauren Dennis Award is Arcus. Huge congratulations. That brings us on to the Engineers in Business Award. And for that, I'd like to welcome a special guest to present the awards, the Sustainability Director at Microsoft and part of the Engineers in Business Fellowship. Please welcome Andrew Del Rosario to the stage to present our next 2 awards. And this is for, Andrew, welcome, 2 winning teams made of engineers from the, again, wider We Innovate cohort, each taking home a prize fund of £1,500. Please join me in congratulating our 2 winning teams who we'll invite to the front for photos now and for their trophies, Transpexa and Quellboat. Photos. Thank you very much indeed. Now, if it wasn't daunting enough having to be in front of you or having photos taken and having to pose in front of a room full of people is pretty tough stuff. So congratulations to you all and well done. Now, for our We Innovate 2024 runner-up teams, each being awarded £1,500. And to present these awards, I'd like to welcome Dame Kate Bingham to the front to hand over the trophies. Kate, welcome. And again, with the runner-ups, if we ask you to stand and pose in front of a room full of people once again, that would be fantastic, along with you, Kate. So our runner-up prizes this evening go to Highfond and Beia. Would you like me to jump into it? If you're happy. Sure. And then I'll hand it back to you to wrap up.
Thank you very much. So I get the honour of doing the last 3. I don't quite have an envelope Oscars style, and I hope I'm not going to make an Oscars style mistake. It was a really hard decision. We could have spent many, many, many more hours, I think, discussing and arguing about this. But we have made a decision, and in 3rd place, it is Pera. Because the problem is when I tell you who's in 2nd place, you also know who the winner is. But please, hold yourself. So in 2nd place, it is Sensory. So, surprise. I would just like to take a minute to say we were impressed with all of the pitches, but I think this group in particular, there was a great team. They really demonstrated an acute problem. We have just come out of a pandemic. We know that the supply chains, the cold supply chains were particularly critical, and that's an ongoing challenge. So it's timely, it's innovative, it's sustainable. It was presented really well. And of course, you had the added challenge of an actual world expert on the panel. So that's not always a win for you. So it's my great pleasure to ask Celio to come down and receive their prize. Okay, all right, so I'm going to hand back to Ria, but before I hand back, could we also give a round of applause for our amazing host this evening? Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, thank you. And a huge congratulations again to all of our winning teams and the wider We Innovate cohort, many of whom are here today. A big thank you to our judging panel too, and to Santander Universities for sponsoring the We Innovate final prizes. Finally, a thank you to our donors and supporters, including Alison Bennington and Mitchell Moores. And as has already been mentioned, there are big plans underway with the Imperial Enterprise Lab, with exciting plans to expand nationally. If you'd like to find out more or anything about what you've heard this evening, just head to imperialenterpriselab.com. You can also find some of the team milling around outside for networking drinks. You'll find them at the Enterprise Lab stand, which is in the college main atrium, where I hope you will all join us now for networking drinks. And that just leaves me to say thank you very much indeed and well done.